Hey, it's Tony and Jay today on a holiday day somewhat. I mean, we're almost there, but we're gonna complete our little replacements thing that we started before here. We're gonna track our 20 favorite replacement songs. Jay and I both are big replacements fans. I kind of thought myself 20 was about right. What do you think, Jay, about this whole ordeal here?
Yeah, at first I thought that was a good many, but then once I started thinking about them, hell, right off the bat, on top of my head, I came up with about 19, so it
Yeah,
worked out.
that's great, man. Well, this time I think I'm gonna, like we discussed before, I'm gonna even it up here and I'm going to go first this time, and not to be selfish, but anyway, I'm going to start off with I really like this song, but to me, it's almost as normal. My number 20 is almost as normal of a rock song. It's really hard to see that it's any different. I don't really see it any different from a Stone song or anything. And I'm talking about the first song on the second side of Pleased to Meet Me, Never Mind. Something about that all over but the shouting, just the way something about it really is not, it's got such a strident thing to it, and the pace of it is more like a mid-tempo Stone song or something. I like it. That's the great thing about them. They write so many, they're thought of as one type of band, but there is a lot of different styles that they tackle. So that's number 20 for me.
Number 20 for me is a lot of people didn't like this song, but I was like talent show off
Oh,
Them Colors Soul. But it was that a Westerberg solo album or what? But I just like the
yeah.
words to it and talent show, and it just fit in with the way the replacements were. But that's my number 20, talent show.
It songs, and I think he's kind of talking about the Minneapolis scene there, and
Yeah,
that there's a couple songs that he did like that. Happy Town's one of my favorite ones. You would pop
yeah.
up later. That's about the Minneapolis scene and how everybody became junkies and burned out, and that's wild. Okay, number 19, man. I'm going to go with the frantic ending to probably your and I's favorite replacement album, Let It Be, and Answering Machine with that. Try to, I just love it's so desperate. You can hear the desperation in his voice. It's really
Yeah,
great.
it's unbelievable. My number 19 is Answering Machine.
Oh, wow. Hey,
What a
here we go.
coincidence.
That's so cool, man. Isn't that cool? Yeah, man.
Yeah,
What did was it? It's always, a lot of people. I don't know. It's kind of cool. You can leave it on, but it's kind of different, and the whole band never really kicks in on that. It's weird,
yeah.
but
I mean, that was my first album I got into. Let It Be. I mean, that's back before cell phones when you had an answering machine. Remember calling up a girl or something, and you'd
yeah,
leave a stupid message or not leave a message. You weren't ready for a message, but I know where
right.
you're coming from.
Mine was usually I was talking too freaking long, for it. I went on and on trying to say too much. Cool, man. All right, well, I'm going to Tim for 18 with "We Are the Sons of No One, Bastards of Young." I love that. That was a great single. That was one of the ones I think they did with that effed up video with just the speaker. You just look at the speaker.
Yep.
Maybe he kicked it at the end of one of them or something. I remember I got a promotion when I knew the girl Warner Brothers when I was working in Georgetown, and so she brought me this thing, and I was excited. I said, "Oh boy, there's a replacement," and she told me she gave it to me. She goes, "Don't get your hopes up." And so I took it home, and I was just like, "What the hell?" The next time I saw her, I said, "Now I know what you're talking about." It's funny, but that's my number 18, Bastards of Young.
Okay, my number 18's off of Tim too. Kiss Me on the Bus. I don't know why. I just like the way that, the words and the way it went. He was waiting to kiss, kiss his girl on the bus before he got to the stop, man. I mean, that's when you first, Westerberg could write the rockers, but then early on, a few songs, you could just see where, he had the lyrics what were going to come.
And the lyrics of that song, dude, would have worked in the 40s, the 50s, the
Yep.
60s. It's a ubiquitous thing for any person can relate to from any generation. That's what makes him a great writer. So my 17, probably one of the first ones that I got into. Kids Don't Follow. The whole protest against U2. It's. I remember it. I remember it. I remember being in the club and they played it and it was surprising because it was later. It was one of the later tours, and it was one of the good ones that I actually saw there. I saw two shows of the 930. One was a disaster. One was pretty decent. And then I saw some at Lisner. They actually graduated to the larger stage, which was kind of strange. But that was after Bob. Of course, that was when they had Slim in the band. But that's my number 17. Kids don't follow the early stuff, baby.
Okay, my number 17, and it's one song on the first album I heard by him that sold me on it. It's their cover of Black Diamond by Kiss. I mean, what could I say? Kiss was my first concert, and I'm like, man, that's too cool. They got the balls to put a Kiss song on there, and like the way they did it, it sounded good.
Was
It's a
that
pretty faithful cover.
we talked about Kiss? We talked about Johnstown before. Was that up in John? Was that the Johnstown show?
That's
Was
the only
that your
time,
first?
yeah, that's the first concert I ever went to,
So
Johnstown.
I was there with you. I
Yeah,
didn't realize that you
ten
went. I
dollars, $10
Carl
on the
went.
bus and the ticket.
Yeah, I remember Carl was there with Chris Wright, and I went with Tanya
I
Junkins.
had Reboy
Brett,
with me.
huh? Did
Reboy with
Reboy?
me. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that many people were there at that. That is, and remember the end when they last song in the Kiss and all the glitter
On
they dropped.
confetti. I used to have a little pill bottle full of that confetti, but I don't know what I did with it. Oh,
You
Greg and
probably
I, that was
felt
our
that
first
day.
concert. We kept getting up to leave, thinking they did about 15 encores. We kept thinking it was over. We didn't
And
know
we
you'd be
did.
able to leave till the lights on.
That was
Yep.
before Alive was out. We did was just Dressed to Kill was what that was the tour on, and then on that tour, the one on Detroit stop, which I don't either was before or after ours. That was the recording of Kiss Alive, and then boom, it was out. Cool, cool, man. Okay, number 16. It's my turn for number 16. I'm going to go back to Pleased to Meet Me with I Owe You Nothing. The raucous, probably the most angry stomping song on that. I love Chris Marr's drums on that. He really cracks it hard, and that's the kind of song that with that kind of beat and that chop, there's really nobody but Mars that could lay that down. I mean, it's funny how every drummer has their different thing. George Hurley, the Minutemen, everybody's got their own little thing, and I don't think anybody could play that but him. Now that big snare sound, he probably Dickinson got that. They probably had a debate over that, but I think it makes it, and I think in fact I like to use that sometimes too. That's some of the accents that I like to use when we're doing stuff. But anyway, all right, man, that's my number 16.
My number 16 is off Tim, and I just liked it because it was a rocker and Hold My Life.
Oh,
And I
that's
just
great.
like the way it banged out, they're singing, I used to put that on and about that time in my life.
Oh yeah.
um,
Well, well, well. I love that. That's so cool,
Hold
man.
My Life, number
He's
16.
great. I'm gonna go with one of the more modern records here, and some people think this is a weak song. For some reason, I gotta have a weakness for it. One Wink at a Time, kind of the way. I don't like that record a whole lot, but I think that that's from Don't Tell the Soul. I think it's Don't Tell the Soul, but either that or All Shook Down. But again, it smacks of being a Paul solo thing, kind of like some of his stuff that came out later, and so
I just got
that.
something real quick. So,
But yeah, that's a good. But the older stuff. Yeah, I typically tend to favor the older stuff and some more of that. But I'm talking about the classic stuff. I think you and I both were there. But anyway, that's my number 15. One Wink at a Time.
okay, my number 15 is off Let It Be and 16 in Blue. 16 in
Oh
Blue.
wow,
I just liked it slow, the way that felt, and it just hit me, man. I felt like that when I was 16.
it is, man. I forgot about that one. That's why it's even on a narrow thing where they don't have a lot of records like this. I get surprised and I'm thinking, man, I should have that's one I should have put on here. I'm
Oh,
going back to the early days for number 14, Taking a Ride. Taking a Ride. That's again, that's the punk rock. That's when they're playing punk rock. That's when they're thrashing around. But I always liked that. I think it was an early single. I know they played it on HFS some. So I don't know if that meant it was a single or it was just a radio friendly thing. But that was back in the days of Twin Tone. So I mean they probably didn't have
yep.
much of that, but everybody was trying to be cool, and at that point I think they were kind of the new kids on the block.
Yep.
I remember when that record came out, it was, oh wow, this is something new, this is something different.
My
14.
number my number 14 is off Let It Be, and it's Favorite Thing. You're mine.
Oh man,
You're my favorite thing. I used to
I love
blast that so loud.
it,
That's my
man. That's
number 14, Favorite Thing.
wow, man. See, was there so many great songs. 13. Going with Left of the Dial. Going with Left of the Dial. Kind of a dark horse on Tim. People don't think about that song a whole lot, but I like the lyrics, and I like the way it kind of the lyrics are kind of the music chugs along, but the lyrics kind of keep themselves at a distance from it, and it's you can tell that that's kind of the resistance of the whole thing. So at least to me, in my mind, that's the tension from it, and I like songs like that sometimes. So that's my number 13, Left of the Dial.
I got that coming up, and I'll say something else about it, but it's not up. Okay, my next one is, you already had it. So what is this one? 2018, but 13 off Stink. Kids Don't Follow.
Oh right, there you
Like,
go.
that was one. It was like our rallying cry.
It was that was a breakthrough. Really, that was a big one. It was surprising. It's surprising that was a dig at you too, because the stuff has just kept coming from
Yeah,
him. Funny. It's funny how that goes. Oh, did you see the new thing? I think the next idea I think is 5 acts that we really don't like. So I don't know who's going to show up in any of them. They're probably not going to be in mine. I don't like them, but I wouldn't. But I still have a few of the records. I don't.
King Diamond has a new single out.
Huh?
King Diamond has a new single out.
Who? King
King
Diamond.
Diamond.
And I know they reissued all of his records too. I just saw that the guy on it was funny. He's doing all the Christmas records on the In Groove in Phoenix. I always watch his thing and hear all the new releases because he's one of the biggest vendors in the country. And for Christmas time, he's saying it's really ironic at Christmas time. He's holding up these satanic King Diamond. Here's another one. Here's another one. He goes, "I'm sorry." He's kind of whispered. He kind of went like that. Said, "I'm sorry, God." It's because there's a bunch of Christmas records. Then there's a King Diamond, which is funny. It's silly. That was your number 13.
Yep.
Number 12 for me. Should we give it up? I don't know.
Um,
I don't know. I loved it. I like it. It's kind of silly. It's kind of silly. I saw that tour, and I think they opened. I think they opened up with maybe not, but it's one of the first songs. But I could tell at that point that, and that was a listener show. I could tell at that point they were going to play at least somewhat professional. So I mean, I don't know if they had any auditorium shows like that where they did have the crazy shenanigans. But again, Bob was kind of the wild card, and by that time, Bob out of the picture. So unfortunately, God rest his soul. But that's my number 12. I don't know which could be a Bob thing, kind of thing.
my number 12, it's another one. I just, sometimes these slow songs has got me, but it came off Don't Tell a Soul, Aching to Be.
Oh yeah, that
Uh,
that was a that was a big single. That was
yeah,
a
it's one of the
that was
singles I like.
that,
Actually, you can hear on the radio now and then.
yeah. We showed that we saw that all the time. I'm looking at one thing here. I want to see. I had one question about something, and I want to verify this here. Uh, Hold on a second here, but my number. Okay, we're up to my number 11 now, right?
Right.
Okay, and my number 11 is, and I have to get this forward, but I'm talking about the song "Within Your Reach." It's one of the ones I think that sound normal, most normal on Hootenanny. Hootenanny's kind of an odd one. I'm not. I didn't know where this came in it. And I thought but I just think it's. I remember when I heard it, I'm like, is he serious? Is he not? You couldn't really tell. You couldn't really. It was like some of the first shadings of, well, Paul's going to really do a little bit of soul bearing in this thing, and it's not going to be all fun and games and making fun of people and calling people names and stuff. It got to be a little more mature. So I like it. That's my number 11, Within Your Reach, Hootenanny.
My number 11 is also off of Hootenanny and Color Me Impressed.
Oh
That
yeah,
brand one, it was sort of one of them big songs. It's like
it
secret
is. It,
video.
because I didn't know if that was first or
Appeal
that
to
was
the
the.
smart ass in me.
That was what I was thinking about it too, and that's, to me, that's right around the corner with me. So number 10, I'm talking about the children by the millions wait for Alex. I what's that song? Dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun. In fact, that's a beautiful. I'll show you that riff when you come over. It's a fun. It's a
never
fun.
traveled far without a little big star.
Oh my God, yeah, we need to do Big Star. You like Big Star too, man? Maybe
Yeah,
we should a Big Star thing where we talk about the three records, because that's a fascinating. A lot of people, especially the way the three fits into it. The first two are pretty similar, but the third one is just like a ragged. one of the most ragged, crazy things you've ever seen. But anyway, that's my number 10. Alex, the great Alex Chilton, God rest his soul. I got all his records too. Those are really hard to find nowadays.
My number 10 is off Let It Be and I Will Dare. I just
Great.
always like that one. I mean, come on. I was,
Peter Buck, man.
yeah, Buck did the, I got into replacements the same time I was moved down to Tennessee and I got into REM and just snowballed from there. My friend John Rao, we just met and he actually gave me this album, Let It Be. He goes, here, I know you'll like this. And he was,
That's great. Boy, that's a good friend for you now. I tell you, well, REM's like it, everybody knows. I think Jay and I are going to tackle that one next. So that's right around the corner here too with us. I'm going to go to my number 9, and my number 9, my brother just said a couple minutes ago, "Color Me Impressed," another great song off of Hootenanny, and that's why I was looking at it. I was wanting to make sure with the order that I had it right because I thought within your reach I wasn't sure which one I'd ranked higher, and I thought that for some reason I was just confused. But no, this is the way it should be. Color Me Impressed, of course, great single. Heard that on HFS, great one, and certainly, what a crazy record. I saw the record that was based on the first record that was out. That's a copy of somebody else's record.
oh, wow.
The Hootenanny thing, yeah, it's called
Yeah.
Hootenanny, but some other thing. If
You
you
can tell that it was like designed from back to the 50s or something.
Yeah, they just ripped it straight flat off. They did. It's great.
Well, my number 9 is you just get it. It's Alex Chilton, off of
Great, man.
Hardly Wait. We discussed it, but hey, man, they never travel far without a little big star.
Right, man.
And it was funny, you think it would sound stupid when you're like having a song about your hero and you actually name him in it, but it worked. It worked.
It did. And he was there too when they did it, I think. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So that's your number 9?
Yep.
Okay, man, I'm ready for number 8. And my number 8, I'm going to go back to one that you had down the list a little bit more, and that's that super classic song that I said the lyrics could travel decades and make no difference. "Kiss Me on the Bus" from Tim. That's my number 8.
Oh, wait, I only have 19. Anyway, my number 8 is, I'm not sure what album it's off of. I think it's off Hootenanny, but it's just an album a song I love. All I want to do is drink beer for breakfast. I used to put it on when I was drinking beer for breakfast.
Oh my God!
Is that
See,
on
let's.
Hootenanny?
Yep.
I
I
think
think it is. Let me see a second. No, I think it's an earlier one. No, I don't
yeah,
think it's.
it's a crazy one. I couldn't,
Yeah,
I
I think it may.
didn't look it up, but yep. All I want to do is drink beer for breakfast.
Yeah, that's funny,
I think
man.
they probably had a few for breakfast.
I think so. I think Bob. That was probably his. That's probably the same as milk here. Okay, let's see what he says here. Let's see what it says here for beer for breakfast. Here, where was it in heaven? There, here. Well, beer for breakfast. I'm not sure which one it's. I'm sorry, I don't know that. I wish I did. We'll figure it out here. Give me
Yeah,
1 second here. Give me a second. I'll figure it out. These guys know they're saying, well, I can look this stuff up myself. Well, sure you can, but beer for breakfast, I think, is from is a 2002 song. It looks like it's from "Pleased to Meet Me" outtakes. Isn't that weird? Isn't that
yeah.
strange? That's what it said here. Hold on. See this. Let me look at that. So what's what it said here, and I don't think that's right, is it? I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, I thought I listened to that a long time ago. Before, please. Oh well, we
Yeah.
knew.
Well, anyway, that's what it said. Yeah, it's that's a what's number is that for you, Bo? What number is that? Number
Uh,
8.
yeah.
Well, let's go all the way back to early when the Johnny Thunders ran. Johnny's gonna die. Johnny's gonna die. That's all the early thrashy, crazy. Yeah, kind of another band at that point. It was kind of shock. You could see the glints of something happening, but it was still mostly in the great punk thing, and that's kind of the last punkish type of song that I have here, and that's my number 7. Johnny's gonna die.
Yeah,
Poor Johnny, rest in peace.
my number 7 is Tim, Left to the Dial. And we were talking
Uh,
about that. A lot of it is like, that's where college radio was Left to the Dial. And also I read, it's been a while, but I read when he wrote the song, he was also dating someone from another band that was touring like the same time they were, and he could always hear her band Left to the Dial too. So it's like a
was
sort of
it
connection
the
there.
Was it the girl from Throwing Muses or something? Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
like Joanna Hatfield or something, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was it. Yep, that was my number 7.
Yeah, I always felt like that song was like, and I think that's what I mean by that distance thing. He's talking about that it's there, but I can't get to it. And I think
Yeah,
that's kind of the part of it that makes sense. That completely makes.
yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know that was about. I didn't know it's particularly about her. I did not know that. Wow, new fact here for me. Okay, number 6. I'm going to go with one of the kind of a song of resignation, swinging party at the swinging party down the line. Of that song. Something about completely different. You don't, you do, you just don't know, if being, what does he say? If being said, we hang side by side at the swinging party down. I
Yeah,
just think it's a beautiful song. It's kind of a wind down end of the night, kind of
yep.
if goes the
This is
doorbell.
unreal. My number 6 is Swinging Party.
Oh
It's
my God,
a
we
good
got two of them.
pick. I
Oh
always
my,
liked that song too. It was a good late night.
yeah,
Clinking glasses.
yeah. Trying to see who's passed out and
Mhm.
who's
Yep.
what type of night.
Wow.
Big cigarette smoking everywhere. All right, man. I'm gonna go with number 5. This is, I think, to me, hands down, the best song of the last 2 records by far. I referenced it earlier. It's about Minneapolis. It's about drugs. It's about everybody that got into it, all the friends that drank together, and all the thing. It's talking about In Happy Town, talking about Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's kind of Happy Town question mark. Is this what we intended? The what is it? The plan was to, the plan was, and then different things, and then he says about what happens. And it rains every day on the liars in Happy Town. I love that. I love that little fermata, that little break at the end where they just go and then the drums go wild. I love that record. That's one of my favorite modern ones that they ever did. Probably Steve Jordan on drums, but that's number 5, Happy Town.
My number 5 is off Tim. You already listed it. Bastards of Young. It's my
Oh,
one of
great
the
one.
in that.
Great
I
one.
was felt like I was one back then when I was listening to it.
Man, me too. That was the anthem. That was the one that was the one
That's
that they always sang along to. That was the big one. Well, I'm going to mellow down for my number 4, and we're going to go walking in wintertime in Minneapolis through the Skyway.
oh my God, that's my number 4.
That's unbelievable. You're
Three.
kidding.
No,
What's
Skyway number 4.
beneath the sky? I just think it's so
He
bleak.
looks up and sees that girl. He sees a girl on the Skyway. I remember it was like you get in songs like that. I remember like actually this before the internet, looking up to see the Skyway in Minneapolis. I guess it was like a monorail, some kind of thing they had.
Above ground connection to keep people warm. To what kind of a substitute for walking on the streets? They have it up and it's sheltered, kind of like you get, when you walk across 66 to get on a metro station thing, kind of one of those things. But that's what it is. And on each thing, it has a place you can go down to the shop levels for the store. Like all the stores there have connections to it or ways you can get to it. It's wild. It's kind of like a long. I know some people from Minneapolis there that could speak to it more, like Chris Letcher and Beth Wakefield, if she's watching or if she ever sees this. But those guys told me a lot about it, and there's
Hmm.
evidently shenanigans. In the wintertime, you're going to find your drunks and your junkies and everything. Especially, right, that was a period of time. No kid, when all this music was done, that was really a time when heroin was pretty bad there, from what they're saying, and it was also. It's funny how the same thing happened in Seattle too. It's like, it seems like that as soon as something happens, then the dangerous drugs come and cause a problem,
We
with
all
things.
got to
But
be like Keith Richards.
I guess so, man. That's my number 4,
That was
Skyway.
my number 4. Okay, let me
Okay,
go.
man.
I'll get my number 3.
That's right. My number 3. My bad. Okay, my number 3. You've already said, man. Dun, 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 dun. The first song on Let It Be, which really doesn't prepare you for the breadth of the songs. Like like uh, Gary's Got a Boner or Android or Black Diamond, even. But it's kind of a nice little Skip, and the way that Peter Buck plays that guitar, folky birds, he's like,
Yeah.
it's just neat. It's neat. It sounds like a 12 string. I don't know if it was a 12 string, but that's a great, and that's my number three. I Will Dare.
Okay, my number three is off Tim, and it's Here Comes a Regular. That
Oh,
man, that is the best song ever about lonely dudes in bars. It's just,
it
and
is.
like I mean, I've lived it sometimes, especially the line where he says, "Here comes a regular. Am I the only one here today?" And you walk in, the bar's empty. But that's my number three.
Oh, number three. That's the bar the bar flash song. Number three. Okay, man. Number two for me. You've said before what number two is. I think we're headed to the same number one too. Number two. You've already said it. Later in your one, it's Hold My Life because you just might lose it, man. That's that. How can I that not be well? I think that's placements to me. That's their sound, man. When I think about their sound live, that song is it, man. That's it. I love it. And yeah, number two, Hold My Life from Tim.
Okay, my number two is from Let It Be, and you just mentioned it, Androgynous. I just like that song. It's you know,
Awesome.
I was a pretty literary guy. I always knew what that word meant. So I understood the song right away. But it was pretty. I just, I liked that lilting ding, 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 here comes thing.
And you know
But
what?
that's
That's
number
the
two.
step. Yeah, that's kind of them stepping out of the rock beer kind of
Yeah.
thing because most of rock beer things was very misogynistic and
Oh yeah.
Ed Nugent, and they're kind of saying, yeah, that's cool too. And next thing you know, they're wearing makeup and using hairspray. And they don't mind it. Well, we're down to number one, man, and I have a suspicion. I just have a slight suspicion. I played this song actually before, and it's kind of a desecration. I shouldn't. This is something you shouldn't try to play. But I just think that if you can get the right drone thing going, there's nothing that beats "Unsatisfied." Man, this is my
Oh, that's
number one
my number
from
one.
Let It Be. It's your number one too.
Oh my God. And that's another time, man. I was in bad place, in bad relationship, and someone had come down from Kaiser, and I'm like, I ain't satisfied. And
You
I'd
know,
put that
and
on, and it just
that's a
hit.
song. It hears, man. That's it. I mean, that's you got to work your. I mean, you can just hear he's just hanging by a freaking thread there, man. You know.
Tell me you're not sad.
I love it, and I
Yeah,
like playing. I like playing it. It's not a hard song to play, but
the
it's
sing of
hard for
it.
people. Yeah, what they have to do. You got to sustain. There's three of the players got to really just repeat and keep moving on, and it's hard to keep a stiff thing to it. But yeah, I love it, man. Well, great, man. We got what? We got three or four of them were the same, so
Yeah,
that's
three or four were exact. That's when we are number
that.
one and number five. The replacements, people. If you haven't listened to them, go out and grab Let It Be.
At least, yeah. I like him, and it's a shame. It's a shame that Paul's kind of fallen off. I mean, the
Yeah.
grandpa, all that stuff. I mean,
Well, he
it's
has no one to blame. Every time it's like talk about self-sabotage. I didn't get like I saw him once in
yeah,
Nashville. I heard the
yeah.
show afterwards. They played down in Athens was
Oh, you told me
great,
about
but
yeah.
I saw him in Nashville when all the record guys were there, and it was horrible. It's like halfway through they had people from the audience up on stage playing. I'm standing beside Westerberg drinking a beer out in this. And as soon as we walked in, Stinson was at the bar, and I'm like, "Hey, Bob Stinson." He just turned around, "Buy me a beer." It's
Taking
like,
advantage, full advantage of the small town thing, man. What a
yeah. It was
man.
at Cantrell's in Nashville. Saw a lot of bands
Yeah, saw them at Lisner and I saw them at 9:30 were the only places that I saw them, and like I said, one of the 9:30 shows was bullshit, and uh, the other one was pretty straightforward. I mean, it was, and then the one at Lisner was pretty,
Do you
after
know
Bob.
anyone? I'd like to see them when they opened up for Petty. I heard that was pretty crazy sometimes. But I mean, like, they had good songs. They could have won over some fans. It's like sometimes, I mean, their
Well, yeah,
attitude was
yeah,
beyond ridiculous.
yeah. Well, my understanding was when Slim first came along, they tried to play it. It was straight for a little while, and then it just kind of came unglued. I don't know if it was the Petty thing, like you're saying, or whatever that kind of made it come there.
I
But
mean,
like,
they said I heard Tom Petty even pulled him aside and like was like, "What's going on?" Like, they would just come out in them silly suits and just, Petty
and
crowd hated them.
yeah, and then
And they
Paul
feed
jumped
off
up
it.
drums. Yeah, Paul starts playing. I mean, it's just even after that, I heard, yeah, it's crazy. Great. Well, you know what though, but it is great. It is great to at least have some. I just think it's cool that at least somebody just did not or doesn't give a fuck, but at
Yep.
least would it end up like this? It's wild. I mean, you wonder what would happen if. Well,
And then,
here's
the fact that, Tommy Stinson still plays and played with Guns N' Roses. When I heard he went with Guns N' Roses, I was like, what?
yeah. Well, he's he's got a pretty good thing going. I mean, he played with a bunch of different bands and
Yeah,
stuff, and
actually,
I
my brother had a friend. I don't know why my brother didn't go, but down in Richmond, where Tommy Stinson played in this guy's living room. Like, he has this thing going. You can pay him. He came in and did like a concert on I think it was, you could see it online, but
oh,
because it was arranged by David Lowry. He lives right behind where my brother lives, a guy from Cracker. But they were doing something down there.
wow, that's neat. It's neat that they can move those things down because I think that I noticed in DC there's a couple small places that people were playing. Like that girl from Stereo Lab was playing in like this, like almost like a coffee shop. I was like, what in the world? You've had all that success, but I don't know. It's just I guess the live thing and the studio thing are completely different deals. But anyway, thank everybody for looking at this. Let us know what you think. Do us a favor, smash that like button, and remember to subscribe, leave your comments, and Jay and I'll be back at you at a future time here with some more fun stuff. So we'll catch you guys next time, and happy holidays 2025.
Yep. Peace out.